Welcome everybody, Cameron Makiling here on behalf of the PDGA, and we are going to take a look back at all of the excitement that we got to experience this June in Ogden, Utah at this year's PDGA Pro World Championships. We saw more than 200 of the world's top men and almost 80 of the world's top women disc golfers duke it out for 5 days on two of the most challenging courses in the state, Mulligan's and the Fort. The ladies kicked things off on the first day at the Fort, where crowd favorite Paige Pierce claimed an early lead to start her week, but it might not have been the start Paige wanted, as both Sarah Gilpin and Haley King came into the clubhouse just one stroke back. Scores were tight at the Fort, where players like Valerie Mandujano, Katrina Allen, Lisa Fakis, Kristen Tatar, and Madison Walker all had impressive first rounds, keeping themselves within a few strokes of the lead on the first day. Over at Mulligan's, the MPO field played in the scorching sun, where both Nate Sexton and Ricky Wysocki were able to put together the hot rounds at 10 under par and secure themselves early leads. However, the men's field had an even tighter race than the ladies, with Kevin Jones, Calvin Heimberg, Thomas Gilbert, and Dallin Blanchard all finishing just one stroke off the lead, and only one stroke behind them was a 12-way tie for 7th place. But Worlds was just getting started. With 4 rounds left, it was still anyone's game. Looking for some score separation as the field switched courses for day 2, the ladies got to play their first round at Mulligan's, leaving the woods behind and instead contesting with the golf course's brutal OB and fast greens. Leader Paige Pierce was able to hold down her lead as she managed to finish with the hot round yet again, shooting 8 under par, but hot on Paige's heels were both Katrina Allen and Lisa Fakis, who shot matching 7 unders to put themselves in a tie for 2nd place. Kristen Tatar, in her first post-pandemic American tournament, also found herself moving on to lead card after the 2nd round, finishing 2 strokes behind Kat and Lisa. Down at the Fort, the men clashed in the woods, finally getting some reprieve from the hot Utah sun. The shining star of round 2 had to be Emerson Keith, who broke free from the 12-way tie at 7th place with a scorching 10 under, earning himself a spot at the top of the leaderboard heading into round 3. Calvin Heimberg had the next best round of the day, finishing 1 stroke behind Emmer Daddy and nabbing a solo 2nd place position through 2 rounds. But the highlight of day 2 was without a doubt this giant ace James Conrad hit on hole 16. James finished his round 7 under par and in a 7-way tie for 3rd place. With 2 days down and 3 left to go, we were still pretty far away from deciding who would walk away from this one as the new world champion. The clouds came out to play with us on day 3 as the ladies headed back to the Fort in the morning. Paige Pierce fought tooth and nail to hold on to her lead before moving day, but was only partly successful, struggling to score on the Fort's long and tight fairways. Paige barely managed to maintain her spot at the top with a 4 over par. Katrina Allen, however, took advantage of the situation and was able to make up the 4-stroke difference between herself and Paige, shooting a clean, even par. Kat joined Paige in 1st place at the end of the 3rd round. The real FPO story of day 3, though, has to be Sai Ananda's hot round at 3 under par. While this may be Sai's first FPO appearance at Worlds, she is no stranger to the pressure of a World Championship, having competed in both amateur and junior Worlds in previous years. Sai was the only woman to shoot under par in the 3rd round and was able to grab herself a spot on Chase Card heading into day 4. The men returned to Mulligan's to test their skills out in the open one last time. Maintaining his position in 1st place, Calvin Heimberg shot 8 down, but finished round 3 only 1 stroke ahead of Nate Sexton, who was able to match his own impressive round 1 score of 10 under. It also deserves mentioning that while they did not move up into the top 10, Ty Love matched Nate's score of 10 down and rocketed 75 spots up in the standings, while Anthony Barella finished with the hot round of the week at Mulligan's, shooting a 1094 rated 11 under. As day 3 wrapped up, we are more than halfway done with this year's World Championships. With only moving day and the finals left, the title of World Champ was still up for grabs. Day 4, Moving Day. As the ladies played their final round at Mulligan's before the finals, world champions Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen duked it out for the advantage heading into the last round. Katrina finished the round on top by 1 stroke, knocking Paige off the top of the leaderboard and into 2nd place. It also needs to be mentioned that Lisa Fakis finished round 4 in 3rd place, holding her position behind Kat and Paige and ahead of the rest of the field for the 4th day in a row, while Kristen Tatar was able to shoot 5 under and buy herself a spot on lead card. And in what has to be the coolest way to finish her round at Mulligan's, Sarah Hokum was able to bang out this killer ace over the water hazard on hole 18, proving for a 2nd time this week that MVP discs just go in the basket. Over at the Fort, the men showed us where moving day gets its name as we watched 3 players from the chase card, Kevin Jones, James Conrad, and Paul McBeth all move on to lead card. Kevin shot a scary 8 down to tie himself up with James, who shot an even scarier 9 down. But both were just chasing Pablo, who was just doing Pablo things, shooting a terrifying 10 under, and was able to finally secure himself the lead before the last day. Meanwhile, former leader Calvin Heimberg struggled to score in round 4, only shooting 4 under par and dropping himself to 4th place. The stage is set for what is quickly shaping up to be one of the tightest races for a title the world has ever seen. With both leaders only 1 stroke ahead of the competition and a tightly packed field hot on their tails, it's still anyone's ballgame. After 4 days of battling it out in Ogden, Utah, it is finally time to crown a new pair of world champions. It all comes down to 18 more holes at the Fort. Day 5 was about as perfect a day for disc golf as one could have asked for. The sun was out, the sky was blue, and energy was high as we watched some of the best disc golf the world has ever seen. The ladies kicked things off for us in the morning where we saw 2 world champs, Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen, brawl it out for 18 of the most mentally challenging holes of disc golf in their lives, all while Lisa Fakis chased both of them down, at times looking to steal the lead. Through the first 9 holes, Kat maintained her 1-stroke lead on Paige, but on hole 11, Paige finally caught back up and tied things up again. Kat quickly lost the lead a couple holes later and found herself taking 2 bogeys, now sitting 1 stroke back from Paige. And on hole 16, Kat and Paige both threw OB, giving Lisa Fakis the opportunity to score a potential 2 strokes on Paige and move herself from tied for 2nd to tied for 1st. That was until Paige Pierce knocked down a jumper from the drop zone to save par, inevitably big putting her card mates. Kat was now 2 strokes behind Paige with 2 holes left to play. On hole 17, Katrina kept her cool and nabbed a par, while Paige took a bogey, bringing the score back to within 1. Then on hole 18, Kat played her game to her strengths, while Paige ended up losing her cool and took a double bogey, sealing her fate. And with that, we crowned our 2021 FPO World Champion, Katrina Allen. With 1 champ decided, the MPO closed out their week with one last chance to show that they have what it takes to score well at the Fort. Paul McBeth led the charge, tailed closely by Kevin Jones and James Conrad, with players like Calvin Heimberg, Nate Sexton, and Chris Dickerson all vying for the highly coveted win. In possibly one of the most stressful World Championship rounds in the history of sports, we saw Paul, Kevin, James, Nate, and Chris all sitting at the top of the UDisc Live leaderboards at least once during the final round. Coming down the stretch, Paul seemed to be the sure winner as he was able to steal back and maintain the lead as the lead card teed off on hole 18. But then James Conrad, only a stroke behind Paul, changed the history of disc golf forever. With more than 200 feet between himself and the basket, James Conrad threw the best disc golf shot the world has ever seen and birdied the last hole to force Paul McBeth into a playoff. James Conrad and Paul McBeth climbed the stairs up to the tee pad for hole 16 one last time. James Conrad, after acing the same hole earlier in the week, took his last shot of the day, landing safely on the island and inside the circle. Paul Macbeth, however, failed to stick the landing, and tapping in his birdie, James Conrad was crowned the 2021 MPO World Champ for the first time in his career, taking the title right from underneath the defending world champion, Paul Macbeth.
Fun today to be able to make that shot from maybe 200 feet on the 18. In Ogden, Utah, give it up one more time, James.
And that's a wrap on the 2021 PDGA World Championships, everybody. My name is Cameron Makiling from BDub Pro. Thanks for watching. That's it. There we go.
So cute. You're so cute. Oh my god, look at you. Oh my god, look at you.